Hi everybody, welcome to this YouTube video. My name is Jens Pateu, and today I want to talk about a positive vision for the future. Because there is so much fear-mongering going on in the media, even in the alternative media. Even, on channels that's supposed to be, for freedom, for positivism. There's people talking about, World War III is gonna come. And indeed, there's wars happening on planet Earth. There always have been wars happening on planet Earth in the last 8 decades. There's the war in Ukraine, there's the war in the Gaza, which was horrible, horrible, horrible. But we gotta see the positive too. We can't let us get totally put down by negative news. We can't let our consciousness be clouded by these incessant negative messages because it brings your vibration down, and that's actually part of the control system of humanity, is to bring the vibration of humanity down to a level that the elites that are behind us that want to, transform the world to their dystopian transhumanist vision, is they want to keep us into a lower vibration. What we have to do is we need to have the strength to see the positive, to know that there is positive things also happening in life, because if you follow only the media, especially the mainstream media, you will get a very bleak picture, and that picture is not the reality. There is love, there is light, as I will go into it more towards the end of this video. But first I want to discuss a few things. We need to hold a positive vision for the future. A positive vision for the future means that our society will transform into a more positive thing. We need to believe in that. And we need to hold that vision. Because if we don't, what's the point? Right? And, truth to be told, our society has improved. Okay, there's a lot of arguments to bring against that. And I hear people thinking, but we have this, it's so bad now. Well, if you compare it to the Middle Ages, society has improved. People that spoke truth, people that went against governments were, publicly executed. People that went against authority, they were hanged, they were publicly executed. So, yes, there's still a lot of bad in the world, inhumane behavior, but we've gotten a little bit more civilized. I mean, certainly not totally civilized, I'm not going to say that, but because the frequencies of the Earth are rising, there is a positive change happening on planet Earth. They try to, silence your voice, with shadow banning and with whatever have you, but still we can voice our opinion. That's something that in the past was almost not possible, or they cut your head off. So there is positive evolution, right? So we need to see the positive. And what I first want to discuss is that in the future, we won't even need governments anymore. I am convinced in the future, governments will be a thing of the past. Because right now we have governments because they are part of the old power structure. Governments represent force, not power, but force. Like how certain parts of the army are called the Air Force, the Space Force, and stuff like that. Power comes from within. Force is like forcing things on somebody. And that's basically what governments do. And, people who follow my work know that governments are mostly in service to globalist agendas determined by elites that are like kind of hiding behind the governments. But, there's also, of course, good people working in governments and in military and in police. I'm not saying that, but, the overall structure of the government is geared towards, it's not geared towards serving the people in our modern times. It's geared toward implementing and maintaining the power structure on planet Earth. That's basically what governments do. It's like with taxes, it's still the same thing as in the Middle Ages. In the Middle Ages, you had to, as a farmer, to be able to work on the land and earn some money, you had to pay rent to the lord who owned the lands. He collected taxes on the profits. It's the same thing. Government collects taxes on the profits, huge, hefty taxes. I mean, in Belgium where I'm from, is one of the most heavily taxed countries in the world. And what happens if you don't pay your taxes? First they start to intimidate you, they send you letters. And if you still don't pay, people with guns come to intimidate you to say you have to pay your taxes. And if that doesn't happen, then people with guns come to empty your house and take your possessions away. That's the same thing as in the Middle Ages, right? And there's arguments pro or against taxes, but I'm just saying it's basically the same system as in the Middle Ages we have. This is part of the old power structure, but I'm convinced in the future that will go away. We won't need it anymore. And what is the determining factor that we won't need this anymore is that the evolution of our own consciousness. The more humanity rises in consciousness, the less we will need these authoritarian structures and the more they will fade away. I'm not saying we need them now, but they're still there. Like, for example, the police in our modern society, and this may be controversial that I say this for some people, but in our modern society, we still kind of need the police because if you don't have police, there's kind of a power vacuum that exists. I mean, for example, in, some South American cities, you have these areas of the city where the police don't come anymore, which are totally ruled by gangs, gangs that deal in drugs and stuff, and it's just very dangerous there. I mean, we don't want that. I mean, here in Belgium, there's a city called Antwerp, and there's drugs, like a lot of drug violence there, grenades exploding and stuff. So if you would take away the police there, then there would be a power vacuum, and gangs would come and try to control the territory. So as long as the consciousness of the global humanity is not evolved enough, we will always have people that want to rule over other people, whether it be criminals, politicians, etc. So as long as we have that, if there's a power vacuum, for example, the police that doesn't control the territory anymore, then criminal gangs will come in. And we don't want that either. So in our today's society, we still kind of need the police, right? We kind of need something to maintain law and order, because not everybody is of a high enough consciousness. And there's some criminal people out there who would want to control other people. But I'm convinced that in the future, when we evolve to a society where everybody is morally and ethically sound, we won't need these structures anymore. They will fade away. And I'm convinced there's already societies existing like that in higher dimensions where they don't have governments. And that's what we need to hold as a vision for the future. There's people doing beautiful things. For example, these people in Denmark, and I saw a YouTube video on that, they had a homestead and they built like a kind of a dome around their homestead. So it's a very cold climate there, but they completely encased their farm in a glass dome, which is amazing because they have plants growing, they have heat, they have sun. They think outside the box. They are actually way showers for the future. How it's possible to live, by just thinking creatively. It's just amazing. As you see here in this video, this is also, they are creating the future. And I want to show here a clip of Michael Rhodes. And Michael Rhodes was an amazing spiritual teacher. He passed away this year, and he could travel in his light body to the future. Now, a lot of people will say that's not possible, but I'm convinced it is possible because our consciousness can, span time. We can visit future times if you have that talent. And Michael Rhodes had that talent. Let me show you here what he saw in the future. And he saw cities that were actually encased by a dome like that, and there were no governments anymore, and people lived in harmony.
When I was looking at these, this probable future, this frame that for many people will be very probable, for many people it will be extremely improbable. But for what I saw were, which rather surprised me, were community cities. Now forget our type of cities. These community cities are just incredibly like an oasis. Interesting, isn't it? Literally an oasis. And each one is like a giant flat-based bubble. And when I say giant, I mean you could put a fairly normal city in one very comfortably. And inside the city, all the buildings are like various shapes of domes, of translucent domes, very much looking like flat-based bubbles also, but with many incredible colours. Very, very colourful, incredibly colourful. There are highways to transport things in these cities, but the highways are not roads as we know. They seem, the best I could say, they look to be made of like a lichen, a grey-green lichen. And it all blends in beautifully. This lichen is all the time continually replacing itself. So as people walk on it, all transport hovers. It's all anti-gravity, so everything is moved by hovering. What I found fascinating in this is there are tens of thousands of homes in there. We're not talking just a little contained something. Obviously the climate is completely controlled in there. But what I found fascinating is we have restaurants, they have restaurants, but their restaurants are open because they've got the overall roof, so they don't need to individually roof them. And every restaurant is built around, I mean, they're incredibly beautiful. They're built around a garden, a food garden, from trees, from shrubs. There are water gardens, multi-tiered water gardens with the water flowing. And in these water gardens, there are underwater plants that have incredible fruits on. Fruits and plants I've never seen before. And so people sit around. Now this food can be prepared as it is by the restaurant. Everybody's vegetarian, fruitarian there. Or you can eat it raw. You don't pay for this. Everything is a matter of, everybody gives to the whole, and therefore everybody can receive. It's literally a way of life. And so these food gardens in these cities, there's thousands of them, or hundreds of them maybe I should say, scattered all over the place. They are very much meeting places for people. And the cities have an amazing energy. They're exactly where Earth is happy to have them. And so these city communities, these oases, you find them, some of them are floating on the oceans. Some of them are under the ocean, under the water. Not so many, but there are a few underwater. There are some on the high permanent snow, in the high permanent snowfields on mountains. There's some on the lower mountains, some in forests, some in deserts. There's not thousands and thousands of them, but they're scattered all over the earth for people to use and to stay in as long as you wish and to move on according to how people want to be. You might sort of think, so what's the point of all this? The point is the development of the relationship, each person with themselves. One of the things I talk about in this life, your relationship with yourself is your relationship with life. You treat yourself well, life will treat you well. You treat yourself badly in your thoughts, in your emotions, you'll find a lot of adversity in life. So they're still developing a higher and higher level of consciousness in the way they treat themselves and other people, but particularly in their relationship with the devas and nature spirits. What I also found interesting is that these cities, every now and again, according to the need of the earth, and they're very sensitive to the needs of the earth. We don't even consider the earth as having needs. We only ever think of our needs, but the earth also has its own needs, and they consider this. And so there will be certain times that the city will relocate itself, and it will basically move maybe 10, 15, 20, 30 maximum kilometers in an area. And as it does, the nature spirits and the devas prepare the area. And so behind it revegetates, and in front of it the vegetation draws back. It's astonishing to see this. You look like you're watching something out of Disney World. Like it couldn't be happening, but it is happening and it is real. So there is this great sensitivity.
So you see how amazing this is? This is the vision of our future, working in cooperation with nature, with the spirits of nature, where humanity and nature work together, instead of, taking from the earth without respect and without giving back. No, we work together with the spirits of nature. So these people in that future timeline he describes are really people of a high consciousness. And every great vision, every dream has to start somewhere. And like these people in Denmark, they're really like sowing the seeds of that future by encasing their house in a dome. They are the way showers, and our probable future is already being formed. But what's really, really important is that we focus on the positive, because only with a negative attitude, if you think the world is going to end and the world is going to hell and everything's bad, we're never gonna get there. Our state of consciousness determines the way. Our state of consciousness determines our future. The power of our consciousness is that we influence reality, not the other way around. So that's what, these elites that want to push the world in their direction, in their negative timeline, they're counting on us to subconsciously accept that reality. But no, we cannot let them imprint on us. We have to send out our positive vibration into the world so we can imprint on the collective field our positive vibration, our future, our sense of love, our sense of freedom, and our sense of community. And that is what is really, really important. It might seem that there is a lot of darkness in the world, but there's a lot of love too, and they don't show that. Actually, the darkness is in the minority, because most people live normal life, and most people, I'm convinced, are good people. And it only takes one candle to light up a dark room. One candle to light up a dark room. So that's very, very important. The light is very powerful, but they don't want us to know that. They want us to keep us focused on the negative. And how we create this future vision is by focusing on ourselves, going within, healing ourselves. Because a shadow healed within is a shadow not without. The global reality is like a reflection for the collective of humanity. And if the collective of humanity changes, the mirror will change. When you want to change what you see in the mirror, you don't, like when you want to comb your hair, you don't comb the mirror, you comb your own hair. And then the mirror, the reflection changes. So that's what we need to do. We need to change our consciousness so the reflection will change. And you know, state of the world is a reflection of the global collective consciousness, because not everybody is on a higher level of awareness. And I don't mean to say it's better or something. I don't want to push judgment on people, you know, who are still warring. They are souls that are on their path and they still need to learn. We need to have compassion too. And one of the best things to do this is also to create a higher frequency, is to just enjoy life, you know. The best act of defiance, the best act of resistance to a system that wants to control you is just be happy. The best act of defiance to a system that wants you to put you in a lower vibration is being in a higher vibration, being in love and not taking everything so seriously, and laugh. You're allowed to laugh. You're allowed to have fun. You're allowed to have joy. We are allowed that. It's our birthright. That's what we need to do in a world that, you know, the mainstream media paints is really dark. Is we need to spread that light and we need to spread that love. And that's how we're going to build a future like you've seen in the visions or the reality that Michael Rhodes visited. Is where humanity lives together with nature in beauty. And it is possible. And this timeline already exists. We just need to move towards it. That's the message I really want to give today, is be in love, be in joy. Turn off your TV sometimes. Okay, it's great to inform yourself, but laugh, be silly. That's really, really important. So thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you on the next video. And if you like this content, please subscribe and don't forget to share and like this video. Thank you. Bye-bye.